we were talking about if what dogs would sound like if they could talk. And Greg was like, "What did you say, Greg?" He's like, I think mine would sound like Jewel, the singer. Just kind of not too sophisticated, but smart, kind and soft and sweet. Country smart.
Hello.
Just like you, everybody out there.
Let's do this thing where we don't even acknowledge Mike.
Hello, how's it going?
We just carry on it like Mike's
Aloha. I'm back, and Greg and I are here. Kind of a dip in the weather. Hope you're doing well. It is February 17th, I think. I don't know. I had to write it down a couple times already today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
17.
17th. That sounds right. And man, I'd like to say it's good to be back from Hawaii, but let's be honest. Hawaii is freaking awesome. It was 83. I'm just going to talk about Hawaii. I don't even care. Nobody asked me, but I'm just going to talk about how awesome it is. 83 every day, sunny. It misted one day when we were up at the North Shore, but it was like this just nice, cool mist, and then it was done. But every other day was 83.
Now, what
sunny.
island were you on?
Sounds awful.
We're on Oahu. I know you
Oahu.
don't like, it's not your
83
favorite.
is not bad.
Who, me?
No, Greg.
Oh,
83 is not bad. If it gets up over 85, I'm done. No. I could do 83.
You couldn't tell the difference between 83
could.
and 85. You could.
No.
Yeah.
I just don't like if it gets too hot.
I know. I get
That
it.
was my whole life growing up.
But see, like the shade, because it's the winter time, so the shade was like 75.
Yeah. See, that's
The
nice.
sun, and you had to sit there to really start to feel the heat,
Yeah.
which I didn't because it's what's really a bummer is I used to be able to just be out in the sun nonstop, and I would get super dark, even darker than I am now. My neck would look, like I was not this nationality, and I would never use any sunscreen or anything, But I remember about 4 years ago when I went to Hawaii with Luke, the first day both of us just got totally blistered and just fried. And my skin was red hot, tight. And then it turned into heat rash. It was like little bumps. And so I got to be careful, actually. So I kind of dip in and dip out of I don't just sit, like laying out in the sun. We had somebody with us who she just wanted to lay out on the beach in the sun. It's kind of like working out for me. I don't know about for you guys. I feel like I have to do an activity. Otherwise, just going to the gym and working out is so boring.
Sure.
And so I'd just rather be playing a sport or riding a bike or doing something active.
Just laying there, slowly dying.
So this is fascinating to me because we're actually thinking about this, and so I feel like I want to give some free travel.
By the way,
advice.
Mike Stella here.
Yes, this is our special
Hi.
guest,
Hi.
Mike Stella. If you've been around on the weekends, you might have seen him preach, probably once or twice a year. Some of you might be in a small group. They've been around Northridge 8 years?
10 years now.
10 years.
Yeah,
10 years.
10 years, yeah.
Holy cow.
Tenure.
Yeah, tenure, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think I'm in the pension now at that point, right?
We'll triple
Welcome
your
to
pay.
poverty.
You're married?
Yeah.
What's your wife's name?
Julie.
Julie.
Yep.
And you have two girls?
2 girls, Cameron and Josie.
Cameron and Josie.
Yep.
I hope she doesn't mind I say this, but last night we had a worship time and a little more extended worship time. And what's really cool is all the 6th and 7th grade girls, they rush up to the front row and they all sit in the front row. And not only are they there, they're attentive, but they're worshiping, they're singing, they start stuff, they instigate clapping, they instigate the worship time.
That's a good group of kids.
That is.
It's a good group.
And one of them was even on their knees last night during one of the songs, and Cameron was one of the first ones to stand up during the post talk music, and then she later texted me and asked me for a title of one of the songs that we did. I just really thought that was cool. Those girls lead me almost pretty much every week.
Neat.
So I think that's pretty cool. So she's in what grade?
7th.
7th grade,
Yeah,
and then
7th. Josie's in 5th.
Josie's in 5th.
Yeah.
Social security number.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know if I know that. Josie today her team won the book bowl at school today. So
Book bowl. What is that?
So they have 75 books that they have to read. And it's
cow.
open for third, fourth, and fifth graders. There's 75 books, and then you take a qualifying exam to see if you get in, and then they build teams, and then those teams square off, and there's specific questions on all 75 books. And so today,
Seems like a lot of work.
yeah.
And not as exciting as the real
Right,
Super Bowl.
Right, I hear you. But she was absolutely stoked, and they won today. So now they won their school, so now they move on to the district book bowl. So
Nice.
we'll see.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't quite have the same halftime show as the Super Bowl.
Did you watch the halftime show?
For the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Did you, Greg?
Yeah.
Now,
I snuck
That's
down.
Greg's. That's
I
all
s-
Greg's neighbors
I
growing
snuck
up.
down. I snuck down here.
what's say?
Hey, I was born 5 miles. I don't know. Well, I got to map it. Probably about 5 miles from the stadium.
Okay.
From
In
SoFi?
Lin-
Really?
I was born in Linwood, in the same hospital as Weird Al.
That's awesome.
I
That's
think he's a little older.
it's like the greatest achievement of your
It
life,
is.
Greg.
It is. I peaked early.
Does he say that too? Like I was born in the
Yep.
same hospital. as
Yeah,
Greg?
I've heard him say it in one of his songs.
It's in one of his songs.
Yeah. They're doing like a biopic on him. I forgot. I saw recently.
Yeah, who's playing him?
I forgot who it was.
Carrot Top?
No, no, it's like a
They kind of look alike.
who was playing
A little
him.
bit. I think.
Too bad we have no way of finding out. We'll just no. Let's just pretend like we don't.
Who
have
would
a way
be
to
who
find
would
out.
be the best person to play it?
I don't know if this is the best. For some reason, is Paul Rudd? It's stuck in my head for some reason.
I don't think it is, but he could do.
But
a
he
lot
seems
of
like-
he could do a lot of things. Let me ask you this:
My father-in-law looks a lot like Weird Al.
in the movie of your own life, who would you want to play you?
Oh,
Samuel L. Jackson.
Clive Owens.
Actually, that's actually not a bad one. That's not a bad one because he kind of, he's probably a little bit bigger and
Keep
more
saying I look
manly
like
than
Aaron
you.
Rodgers. but
I do,
don't.
yeah. Especially when your beard was longer and your
Yeah.
hair was longer.
He's got.
That's
he's
insulting.
got pretty
That's
sharp green eyes, though.
sharp.
He
yeah,
hates
I
Aaron
don't
Rodgers.
look at his eyes.
Oh yeah,
I think there's some underlying like resentment about something there because he does not like Aaron Rodgers.
No, well,
No, or Packers
send us a
or
me-
Yeah,
send me a message.
he's like, you
Yeah.
remind me so much of Aaron Rodgers.
Especially your personality, real standoffish. People just can't stand being
Yeah,
around you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who is it? Oh, it's Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's the Harry Potter guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
all right. Back to Hawaii.
He actually has some acting chops.
But who's that? And he looks just like someone else. Who's the other? There's another actor that they look identical. Is it Elijah Wood?
Kind of.
The Lord of the Rings. They look similar, but
Oh.
One
Yeah.
wears glasses though.
Oh, you? Who's gonna play you?
Jackie Chan.
did you say someone told you you look like him?
Everywhere I go.
Really?
I've been
Jackie
into.
Chan's
I've
gonna be
been
70.
I've been to Mexico. They say Yaki Cham. I've been to Nepal. They say Jackie Chan.
What?
I've been to all over the U.S.
He's
like
not
even the
Korean, is
dude
he?
at the Wendy's drive-through in Plymouth, he would
No
say
way.
Jackie Chan. He'd call his coworkers over. Look, doesn't he look like Jackie Chan?
Nuh-uh. Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
never-
that was years ago, but
People
but
are
yeah,
so weird, man.
yeah. You say back to Hawaii?
Yeah. So back to okay. Here's what I want
I
to know.
interrupted you.
Yeah,
to-
we were in the
By
middle
the way,
of a
I've been
long
at- no, I'm just
conversation about Hawaii. So do you always go during the winter?
It's the best time to go because it's so freaking cold here.
Yeah.
I got to get away. Got to get a break from the. This winter has been kind of maybe more cold on the cold side.
Yeah.
Not as much snow, but on the cold side of
been
zero,
No breaks.
more
man.
than normal. And it's just these long strings of, single digit or negative degree weather. And so it was nice to get away.
Is the temperature basically the same throughout year round in Hawaii?
No.
No. Okay.
No,
So
this-
what would it be like in the summer temp?
It would be like a heat index of 110.
Is it just unbearable?
It's humid.
See, that's when I was
It's
there.
hot.
We were there in
Okay.
August.
Yeah, it's like 90s, humid,
And humid.
and it can be oppressive to some people.
Was it pretty low humidity this time of year?
This
Or
time of
lower,
year,
anyway?
it's very low.
Yeah. See,
It's maybe
so
like
83
50.
is nice. Like
83 with no
in my mind, I'm
humidity.
thinking with the humidity too. That's
No,
why.
this
Okay.
is the
That'd be
winter
nice.
time. It was the off season for fishing. We took an offshore charter and did some fishing too, and it was a perfect day. And we weren't in a heavy chop, so nobody was getting sick or anything. Fishing in about 30 to 40 feet deep of water. Sometimes it got shallower, but it was the off season for fishing as well. So our boat, we had maybe 12 people total on it fishing. We only caught like 10 fish.
Okay.
I caught, I think, 2 or 3.
Nice.
Yeah, my buddy
Do you keep
Luke.
'em?
My buddy Luke didn't catch anything. Which I wanted his daughter to catch something, and unfortunately she didn't. She was fishing next to me. Luke was down the boat a little bit further, and I told her, I said, I hope you catch a fish, and I hope your dad gets skunked. Not competitive at all.
No.
Um,
So the reason why we'd like to get there as a family, but it figures to me like if you're going to go that far, to spend an extended amount of time there, more than a week, right? But it's hard for us, which is school and just scheduled to get that extended time. So summer is just an easier time.
Sure.
But to go there and, we've gone to Cancun in the summer before, and that was oppressive heat. I mean,
Yep.
basically just stayed in the hotel. It was
Yep.
horrible.
yeah, you'll find yourself wanting to do the same thing in Hawaii during the.
Yeah.
What you could do is you could do like a 10-day thing, go over like spring break plus a few days, so they don't only miss a couple days.
Right.
And you could make a trip, 2 islands out of a trip like that. I would do Oahu for sure because it's more fun for families with younger kids or kids in general.
Yeah.
Kauai is more if it's just you and Julie, and then Maui is kind of like halfway in between. Not as much stuff to do for younger people,
Sure.
whereas Oahu, there's plenty of activities and stuff. It's the most diverse.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
good
most.
I like the 10-day thing because we went for 10 days. My father-in-law was like, I got to go for 10 days because 7 days, well, there's travel on 2 of those each side, especially from Midwest now. I mean, how long flight? I mean, it's all day.
It
pretty
was
much.
it was like a
By the time
3.5, 4-hour flight to LA, which
Yeah.
I like doing the breaking it
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So
Then another
we get
4
out.
or 5 to Hawaii, right?
It's like 5.5, 6 hours to Hawaii. So I like breaking it up. You get out.
So that's 2 days out of the and then when you're on vacation, 2 days before it's time to go back, you're already thinking about packing and going back.
Right.
So he's like 10 days. Like you get those extra couple days that you can.
It's like that Geico commercial. Enough of the parking lot talk.
Right.
Let's
Let's not
not
talk
talk about leaving before we get there.
Right.
I'm with you though. Like travel days, like I don't like leaving late. Like if we're gonna travel something, well, we'll take a later flight. Like nah, I've moved on. So if this is the day we're leaving, I want to leave early in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy going and try to jam stuff in before you go to the airport or do something before you like. It's just stressful. To me.
What I will say about that though is, so our flight left at 10:30 at night, and we checked out of our room, and the resort that we stayed at, you could stay and hang out there all day, as long as you want. They would hang on to your luggage, although we just crammed it in the vehicle. And then we took off and went to this one little town that I love. It's called Haleiwa, and our intention was to get some garlic shrimp there, but they closed earlier than I thought. But we hung out, bummed around at some of the shops, and then slowly made our way back to the airport. And then the flight itself, we're flying in the middle of the night, so it's easier to sleep because you're tired, and you're not wasting daylight there, all that. And then you get back. We got back by 11 a.m. on Sunday, so that's what I've done every year.
Yeah, well, and it just sounds awesome. I mean, you've been there so many times, you know exactly what you're doing. I'm sure by now you've already starting to look at real estate. So.
I randomly saw this listing.
That
last
happened
night.
a couple of years ago. Yeah.
I randomly saw like a listing of. It was a sweet little honestly, it's like perfect like a bachelor pad thing.
Yeah.
Where was it? It was the Big Island.
It was on the Big Island, the southern tip of the Big Island.
And it was like one of those things where it's like half your house is outdoors. Like the kitchen was downstairs. It looked like a carport.
Was there a shower and a
There was
bathroom out there?
shower, like bathroom outside, the sink and kitchen. But it looks so nice.
Places
man.
on the
It's,
Big
like,
Island
secluded.
are cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why it's not one of the most sought after to live on. Actually, Maui is the preferred for locals to live on.
Oh.
Oahu, The one thing I will say about Oahu is rush hour traffic is no joke. What normally is like a 20-minute drive turns into like 45 an hour. And we just happened to be crossing through the middle of the island at rush hour traffic, because what we want to do is earlier in the day, and then we get done, we want to head back, But
What were you driving?
I originally reserved a four-door Jeep. Actually, the first one was a two-door Jeep because it was just going to be me and my buddy Luke.
Okay.
And then when we decided to let his daughter go, I switched it out, canceled that one, and reserved a four-door Jeep. And then I got there, and they said, "We're sorry, we don't have any four-door Jeeps, but we'll upgrade you for free." So I was like, "Oh, okay." Well, I saw a BMW X5 on your site as I was searching for cars that were kind of, maybe just a couple of dollars more. Oh, no, what about an X7?
Oh.
And I was like, okay. And then she's like, wait, hold on a second. You'll like this one better. And she goes, how about a Land Rover Range Rover Sport?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. So I got to drive. This one was normally like $300 a day, which I got the Jeep for $83. So they gave me the Land Rover for the $83 price.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And they even refunded me $200 because I prepaid for everything.
That's amazing.
So it was pretty awesome.
I mean, I had heard, I don't know if it's true, I heard, 6 months ago or so that the rental car prices in Hawaii were just huge, like $400 or $500 a day or more.
That's a little exaggerated.
Is that what it was?
Everywhere
Okay.
They're up everywhere.
Yeah.
But that's a little exaggerated.
okay.
And the company that I found was a company in all the years that I've rented cars in Hawaii. I've never heard of this company. And then when I went to Honolulu Airport, they had redone their whole rental car area. You used to have to go across the street, take a shuttle, to some other lot. But now it's actually right within the property of the airport. So you just go upstairs.
Okay.
And everything is right there, and then the garage right next to where you're at is where all the cars are.
Okay.
So it's really slick. The company, free plug. They're not a sponsor, but it's
Not yet.
Sixt, SIXT, and they were cheaper than Alamo. They were cheaper than Enterprise. They were cheaper than Dollar. They were cheaper than all these other companies. And I was a little skeptical because they were so much cheaper. So I went on and did some, some research, and all the reviews for the Honolulu location, they were all like super, super duper. And I gave my own review just because, like, they gave me a car that was several times more expensive than the one that I originally. And they even called me the next day. They said, we got a four-door Jeep if you want it.
Yeah.
I said, I'll just keep this Range Rover Sport. Thank you.
Bert
At
Anderson doesn't believe you. Well, she didn't say that. I said you were lying. But Holly said Turo. I haven't heard of that. Turo's awesome. It's like is that like Airbnb for cars or something?
Yes.
You can rent out.
Yeah.
Is there a market for an 06 Dodge Dakota?
Yeah.
With rusty panels?
What
Classic
about
now.
Horrible on
You have a
gas?
Tacoma, right?
I have a
Yeah.
I have a
01?
Tundra.
I have a 2002
Dude,
Tundra.
there are so
too.
many Toyotas over there.
Yeah.
You'd feel right at home, but they're all much better.
Oh, I'm sure they are. So, did you have at first? Did you have one of those Seinfeld moments when you're like, you know how to take?
I don't know
the
what that means.
She
reservation?
doesn't know.
I don't know what Seinfeld moment means.
You haven't seen
He knows.
Seinfeld?
Every day I said, that's a Seinfeld episode. And he won't watch it.
You're talking
Greg.
about the insurance one.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I
he
have
rents
seen
he
it.
rents a car and he goes, you know how to take the reservation, but you don't know how to keep
Yes,
the
'cause
reservation.
they
See,
said
keep
we
the
ran out of-
reservation.
What'd you say? I know what a
They ran
reservation
out of
is.
cars.
I don't think you do. I don't think you understand.
Yeah, I
You know
do
how to
remember.
take
I
the
have
Right.
seen that episode.
Anybody could just
Yeah.
take them.
That's
Which is the
season-
most important part. of the
season 3, I
reservation.
think it is, because
Probably.
you started me watching.
I told him to start on season 3, and he watched season 3 and part of 4, and he said he laughed only twice. Like, that's impossible.
We just watched the marine biologist one last
Oh,
night.
that's the best.
What season is that?
5.
All right,
The
I'll
sea
check
was
it out.
angry that day, my friends.
George Fake said he's a marine
Yeah.
biologist.
In that moment, I was a marine biologist. You haven't seen that one? Oh man. I reached into the blowhole. I see something obstructed. I reach in, grab out. Yeah. Yeah.
It's classic.
It's great.
I don't know how Some of those scenes.
I saw
one
the other
of-
night. I've been watching through again. On the other night, I watched last night. I watched the Kenny Rogers chicken one when it moves in next door, the red light.
Right.
That's so funny. It's so funny.
Never saw Seinfeld.
Not,
I mean, I saw it when when it was out the first
Yeah.
time, and then not since then really.
We're too young. Like it's way funnier as an adult.
Yeah, I mean it was. Yeah, you're right. And now that it's on Netflix, we've been
Yeah.
rewatching them, and I don't.
it would have been funnier if I was an adult back in the 90s.
Maybe.
maybe.
I mean, some of the references are outdated, but like pop culture references. But of course, But
Yeah.
it's just
What
everyday.
the funniest thing about the
situations.
show that you told me was not really what happens in the show, is like the concept behind it. The one of what did you say?
Larry
There's
David
two
said
things.
like 2 rules that the 4 main characters could never grow, like they could never improve, so they could never learn, like and never become better people, and they could never hug.
I love that.
So there's no affection,
Really?
and it's like
Between them or between
with
any of the
them,
characters?
like there's
Okay.
and they all, if you watch, they all kind of like they're so self-serving and horrible people, and they all kind of hate each other. Like they're all really easily annoyed and irritated by each other, but oh, dude. And I also heard that, so you didn't get this far, when George gets engaged, right? And
Wait, the one where they burned down his future father-in-law's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and the
spoiler
cigar.
alert, she dies,
Oh,
licking envelopes and wedding invitations, like she gets toxic glue or something. I watched that episode the other night when she's licking the envelopes and she dies, and there's a laugh track. Like the audience laughs when she keels over and dies. And I was like, that's dark because the reason they killed off her character is because they didn't like her. Like none of them got along with her, the actors. Like in real
really?
life, no one got along with her, so they killed off her character. Well, I was like, the audience laughs when she dies. I'm like, that's so dark, man.
that is.
It was weird. But anyway, it was also funny.
Well, I thought which was George? Is Larry David basically George?
Yeah, I think it was loosely based off Larry David. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if you ever watched his show Curb Your Enthusiasm, his character in that show is sort of that can't get out of his own way
Yeah.
type George
Yep.
person.
Larry had a Super Bowl ad. Did you see that?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I actually fell asleep during in the middle of the third quarter.
Well, that was your first. You just got back after a red-eye
Right.
flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I made it through halftime, ate dinner while I was doing all that stuff, and then about middle of the third quarter, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I woke up, game's over. I'm like, who won? I had to Google it because got a few other things we're going to chat about. But what I thought we would do first is just to talk about kind of some of the news and events and stuff coming up. So I'm going to lean on you, Greg, since I've been gone the last 10, 12 days, to give us the news, what's happening here around Northridge.
Well, whenever you put me on the spot, I drop blank, so I have to go to the news and events page.
That's
on
where
the
I'm at
website.
right now.
Then why don't you say it, man? You got it in front of you. Oh, the Big Chill coming up. That's right.
Right.
The
And we have
26th.
two events on that same exact day.
How good does that
February
look right now?
26th.
Meatball sub looks really good. It's lunchtime, man.
I have not eaten either.
We're doing this during lunch.
Yeah, we're doing it.
So the 26th is the Big Chill, family-friendly event, outdoor on Lake Martha, ice fishing,
Where is Lake Martha?
snowmobiles. It's in like
Hanover?
St. Michael, Hanover-ish, somewhere over there. Hanover.
12 to 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it's fun. There's a bunch of guys out there with equipment and stuff. Especially for kids, there's a lot of guys that like to help kids and
Snowmobiles, ATVs, pulley on sleds,
Yep,
right?
all that.
Nice.
They have bonfire on the lake.
Yep, bonfire on the ice, which is always weird to me.
Right.
It's weird. It's just strange, man. It's a little unnerving.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But hey,
Do some ice fishing. Right.
yeah. Do some ice fishing.
What's the weather going to be
Hang
like
out.
that day, Greg? Can
It
you
looked
promise
cold.
me? Cold.
I think it said 20 something.
20 something.
which isn't horrible compared to today.
Yeah,
What is
no
it,
kidding.
like 5 below out there right now?
Yeah, it's
But
below? It's 5
I
below.
remember last year was a nice day. It
I
was
thought they
like,
said the high was supposed to be 8 today.
is it? I don't know.
it's 5 right now.
5.
Oh,
Okay.
well, when I came in this morning, it was still
Saturday,
below
you're
zero.
right, 20. Good job, Ken Barlow.
So that's a week from this Saturday, though.
looked at the
That's
same
next
app.
week.
Yeah.
A week from Saturday.
So
So it could change.
they're gonna cook any fish? I love fish.
They got guys, Doug and usually Kim Kringen, a
on
couple
the
other guys are out there.
on the bonfire.
Not, I don't think on the bonfire, but they got like, they must have,
They're more the little portable grills,
maybe they do. I think they're just
little propane
like,
grill.
frying it. I think they got oil
Like
in it.
camp
Yeah,
stoves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and then if
Sounds
they don't
delicious.
catch anything or cook anything, you could come here that night.
Well,
and get
X-Strand will
meatball
be there,
subs.
which means they'll catch
They'll
fish.
catch some. Jeff knows.
Yeah, it's
Jeff
like a
knows
video
exactly
game,
where to get
man. It's
fish.
like, that's why I don't like fishing, because as a kid, my dad used to,
Yeah.
we'd go out and it was like, all I know of fishing is you sit there for all day and nothing happens. But now it's like a video game. Like he's
Yeah.
got computer screens and stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's right here. Let's just, and then he does a live thing, right? Or he messages you, doesn't he, when he gets there every year, and like times how long it takes him to pull up a fish, and it's like 8 seconds or something.
I think he's done that with me once.
Oh, well, let's just say every year he does that. And he did it last year, so
Yeah.
No, I'm with you, Greg.
in recent years.
I used to go with my dad too, and we'd be out there for hours. And either one of two things: either our dads couldn't fish,
Right,
or the
which is
technology's gotten better, right? Because you go with guys now. I mean, I went with Scott Kuntz this summer, and it's like he just puts you right on top of him. Jeff Ekstrand,
Yeah.
he'll walk you right to the fish,
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
I don't know. Well, so we didn't go a ton. When I was younger, we used to go like camping locally. My dad worked on weekends.
They have
so
lakes out in California.
There's like 3 in the whole place. We
and
would
one
go.
of them's in Nevada. technically.
Yeah, yeah. We'd go like a local where my dad could come out like after work and come out or whatever. And I just remember like I'd go and sit there forever and nothing happened. And my dad would show up, and then like a few minutes later he'd pull
Catch
up
a
fish.
fish.
Yeah. So he knew what he was doing. I didn't.
Yeah.
But it's still imprinted in my mind that this is boring, man.
The fishing guide. So the boat that we were on, it was a decent sized boat, and there was the captain of the boat, and then the fishing guide. And the fishing guide instructed everybody: here's how we're going to fish, the depth of the water, the kind of fish that we might expect to see. And so basically, what we were doing is you have a little weight, and at the end of that, you had a couple hooks. And you bait the hook with either octopus or squid or chicken. We use chicken, and so the weight's just supposed to bring it all the way down to the bottom, and but you don't want to keep it on the bottom. You want to just keep it above the bottom because it's called coral.
Okay.
So if that weight gets in the coral, it'll
Right.
get hung up, and so he said you get 2 weights because they're expensive and everything. Prices of everything are going up. He said after 2, you got to come visit my jewelry shop, and I'm going to replace it with something else, which are smaller weights. But smaller weights, it takes a better fisherman because it doesn't sink. Doesn't sink the way the heavier one. But we were all fishing, and like I said, over the 3-hour period, only 9, 10 fish. Well, he comes and grabs a pole on the other side of my friend's daughter and Maddie, and flings it out there under a minute. Snags a fish. Yeah. So it is definitely, there's techniques, there's where to put it, how to present it, all that kind of stuff. And not only does Jeff know where the fish are, he knows how to entice the fish.
Oh yeah.
Like your guys' dad, my dad
No.
wasn't very good fisherman either.
Yeah.
In fact, the role reversal later in life was I was the one telling him where to put. I was the one untangling his line and giving him mine and saying, just use my pole, I'll take care of it.
Here's the Snoopy
Yeah.
pole. You hang on to that for a while.
I think my dad's probably pretty good because he's taken like my nephews out and stuff, and like
Always
my
catch
dad will
fish.
catch fish, yeah,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have any of the like.
Is he a
computer
patient
fish.
guy?
Yeah,
See,
Yeah.
it takes patience.
my dad's.
My
very
dad was
patient.
not very patient.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. He's like you. You're a very patient
Mhm.
person.
He's even more patient than I am,
Wow.
if you could believe that.
I can. I can't. Well, what should I,
What?
what should I say?
How do I answer that?
I don't know. But so moving on from fishing.
Yes, that same same day.
The only thing worse than fishing is talking about fishing.
There's
Yeah, the same day as the
Seinfeld.
meatball subs Saturday supper here at the church. $3
So that
a person.
night, February 26th,
Oh man, that looks so good.
you get done with fishing. You can go home real quick, clean up, change clothes, and then come to church here for meatball subs.
Who's
And
making the subs?
It's a good
I
question.
think people are
Yeah.
People bringing subs?
serving. No, people are going to
Yeah.
be serving it,
Yeah, but I think Terry Gilsard probably
getting all
is
the
getting
ingredients
meatballs
and all that
probably
stuff.
from Center Cut
Oh, okay.
or frozen somewhere. I don't
Wow.
know.
Yeah.
But
Boy, that sounds top notch.
Center Cut is very good to us. Like with events, they give us really good
They're right
pricing.
here in Rogers?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know where you're at.
They cater a lot of different things for us.
Yeah.
So
They've done the picnic, I believe.
Yep.
every year for
Yep.
the last
Yep.
like 10,
The
10 years.
Last two block parties and
Yep.
yeah,
Nice.
they give us some really good deals.
Well, we give them pretty good business
good
too. so.
stuff.
Yeah.
6 o'clock. There's a cost.
$3
$3.
$3
per person. That's a giant sub for $3.
Yeah.
That is.
And it's just to cover.
That's a steal.
It's just to
cover
cover the
expenses.
cost of the food.
Kids under 5 eat free.
Nice.
So
Like
You can't get anything for $3.
no,
What's a value meal at McDonald's now? $8?
probably
8 or
I don't
9.
know.
Right?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, it's yeah, not good.
And you do need the RSVP.
Yeah, just so we know like how much food to order and
So we have
how many
enough.
seats to put out. Yeah.
What if you don't RSVP and
You
you
can
just
still
show
show
up?
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Put some more water in the soup, as they say.
Cut the meatballs in half.
Yeah.
I feel like
okay,
I
yeah,
should
yeah.
RSVP. I'm going to RSVP
Well,
right now.
we'll just not allow the kids to eat.
There you go.
That's- Are you RSVPing, Andy? Way to go. Are you doing that fake type thing to make it look like you're typing? Yeah, other events. Oh, there's a cool night coming up with The Chosen. There's a small group that is hosting this event on March 12th. If you know the show The Chosen, about it's about Jesus and those who are around him. It's a creative look. I mean, there's a lot of stuff taken out of Scripture. Have you watched the show at all?
We've
Like,
watched the
yeah.
first season.
yeah, it's really good, man.
Is there 3 seasons now?
I think they're on the third. Or
There's
they're
a barcode that I got
yeah.
after RSVPing. Is
Oh,
that
it's probably
something new?
for like you could check in.
Oh, is that a new thing?
Probably.
I've never.
Anyway.
Do I need to
No,
save
because someone brought that in on their phone a few weeks back, and we're going to scan it to check in for the kids. But no, it's a feature. But
that? Not a bug.
yeah,
I just screenshotted it, so hope that works.
where was I? Oh, The Chosen. So March 12th is a Saturday from 6 to 8 here. We're going to have a viewing of one of the episodes, and it's family friendly. And then Justin Overlander, who's a Northridge guy, is an executive producer or associate producer on the show. And he's going to do a little Q&A and talk about the show a little bit afterwards.
Really?
And- yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
attends here?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
They've
neat.
been here about 4 or 5 years or something.
That's
He's got a
amazing.
background in acting. He's been in what's he been in? A few movies. He's been in, with CSI?
He was in one episode. He was a cadaver.
He was a
though.
dead body in CSI. Yeah.
Acted
So-
the crap out of that, though. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
Man, he's
He
good.
played dead like
Knocked it
nobody
down, huh?
else.
Don't move.
He was also in a independent film that
Yeah.
was. It was the setting was like Duluth area. I don't know if they filmed it all up there, but it was this weird sci-fi movie where something contaminated the water, and so like some of the insects and animals growing like 2 heads and all this kind of stuff, and then like the culmination was like a human being having a baby with mutated stuff. And he was some hillbilly. He wore overalls in that and talked with a kind of a country hickish accent. It's pretty funny.
He sounds versatile.
After getting
I mean,
to know him and then watching that movie, I was like, dude, this is
You know
hilarious.
what's funny is
Sounds versatile,
overalls
people.
are funny because who wears overalls besides hillbillies and little babies?
And 90s teenage
And
girls.
90s
Yeah,
R&B
that's true.
acts.
Yeah, with
With
one
one off.
unhooked.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
unhooked.
Yeah.
But that's a weird article of clothing.
It is.
Otherwise.
Farmers.
Yeah, I'm sure that's where it started, right? Like
Yeah.
you get the extra pocket right here,
Right? Yeah. Yep.
and your pants don't fall down,
Mm-hmm.
which is apparently a problem on the farm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know, but like, who wears them besides hillbillies and babies? I like when babies have them because you could carry them by the back of the overall, like their luggage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
I'm sorry, what was the gentleman's name of the Chosen?
Justin
Justin
Overlander.
Overlander.
Overlander. So he's going to be here answering questions about the show?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Little Q&A
Yeah.
after.
You should
after
give him some
this.
hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just you could be offended by
Why?
who they cast for Jesus. I don't know, just for the sake of it. See how he handles it.
Is it heresy to include things that are not in the Bible
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
show?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the show is fantastic.
It is.
Yeah. It's just
good.
really well done. That's a really neat opportunity.
Yeah.
How did you decide on the personality of Jesus?
Yeah.
I really like how they
Oh,
have
I do
Jesus
too. I'm
portrayed
just,
because
like,
it's
trying
like
to think of
if
deep
you look at old
questions.
movies or something, like Jesus was always either super like lame, weak, pacifist guy, or just stoic, like no personality at all. And I just a couple more recent like movies and stuff, it seemed he's got some personality, but I just like his
And he
playfulness,
also
like,
has this
sense of humor and
Yeah.
like you can see the compassion.
yeah,
in him,
yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like without even having to say,
yeah.
Right.
like I care about you. You can just see the emotion in
Yeah.
his face. And
The
it's
actors, he's very good.
Bert
actor's
said
fantastic.
that overalls are back like they were in
Yeah,
1992.
Oh.
The '90s, a lot of '90s.
I
fashion
bet
is
Bert.
back.
I could see Bert.
Amazing
doing
that the
Bert-
three of us don't know what's up on the latest fashion.
The trends.
I thought
Cindy
we'd be-
Mortensen.
The three of us would be really on top of
I guess I'm a hillbilly.
Greg said that you were.
Yeah, Bert 100% had the overalls with one
One
hook,
clasp.
like in the '90s. I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that. I bet.
maybe Ben even had. I couldn't picture Ben.
I could see
walking around
them
with the
wearing
overalls.
matching outfits
Yeah, overall shorts. That was a thing too.
Oh.
Girls wore in the '90s. Remember
with
that?
the rolled up
Shorts with over. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird,
and
man.
the 10-foot bangs.
Even in California.
yeah.
the
Oh
overalls.
yeah. Yeah.
It's hot
That's
there.
Yeah. But well, shorts.
Shorts. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't know if you guys can hear that. It is buzzing around here
We
in the
got
building.
drilling. They're
We
putting
are
in
getting
a
a
new
new
door.
front door. They're
here?
doing so much progress on the rest of the building.
Yep.
We were wandering around there the other day, just kind of visualizing our office spaces and all this kind of stuff. And even in the 10 days I was gone, man, it just progressed.
Yep. Things like that there.
So far, so fast. It's crazy. Ben did not. Okay.
So Jordan's on her lunch break. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "We're on the podcast. You should come on and say hi." So before overalls, we were talking. So no, the Chosen is the 12th, 6 to 8, family friendly. There's gonna be snacks, not like a meal, but yeah. So the Overlanders are in. Jeff, the X-Strand Belcheck small group, and the group is kind of Jeff and Justin kind of planned it, and they're.
Is Jeff going to be kind of the MC of the night? Are they going to have like an MC? Or are you going to do it?
I don't know. Maybe me or you. I don't know.
It's a adult
probably
ministry.
me is
It's
the
an
look
adult
I'm getting.
ministry thing. You
Yeah,
should
no,
do
I
it.
could do it.
He loves volunteering for things.
I'm
I was
gonna
gonna
have
ask
I'm gonna
Mike,
have
actually,
done
so.
worship practice, so
So yeah,
I'll be
you're gonna
ready to
do. Hey, can you do a few songs? Would that be no?
No,
That's always good last minute. Hey, can you
No.
go up and you got a guitar? Go do a couple songs.
I probably could, but I don't.
No,
wanna.
it'll
don't
be
wanna.
fun, and it'll be like there's childcare there if like kids. If you want to put your kids down, you know, in childcare, but it's definitely a family-friendly episode. In fact,
Sure.
the episode is Jesus with the little children.
Oh yeah.
That one, so
We did see
a good
that.
episode.
Yeah.
That was first season.
it kind
Well-
of stands alone. It's not like really tied to other storylines. So
My favorite scene from the first season, talking about Jesus' humor, was I don't know, they were packing up their camp or whatever, and Peter makes a comment like, "Oh, I'm not going to get angry anymore." And Jesus kind of gives him this look and this half smile, like, "Okay, Peter." I love that portrayal. Like,
Yeah.
they're real people, and sometimes it's easy to forget that. You know, when you read Scripture, like these are actually real people with real struggles and real emotions, and sometimes it's
And
easy to
real
forget
every
that.
ordinary day
Yeah.
life. Like the one thing I did like about the Passion of Christ was that one flashback that he had where he was faking like he was sitting down in a chair.
Oh yeah,
And his mom's like, "What are you going to do with that? What are you doing?" I thought that was humorous.
did he
Right.
like skin his knee or something too as a kid? Didn't
Yeah.
he fall? Yeah, I remember those
Yeah.
flashbacks.
But anyway, it's a good series, and it's going
yeah.
to be a great evening.
It'll be
I've
fun.
invited a handful of my friends that are not Porter Northridge to come, and I think I have at least 3 of them.
Absolutely good outreach opportunity too. So,
Well, they're all Christians, so
well, tell
Fail.
disinvite,
Fa-
uninvited. So don't need to RSVP. Hopefully,
And we got a
don't
nice projector.
overrun. Yeah,
And we got a great sound system. It'll feel cinematic. We'll shut the lights off.
we could pack 300 people in here if we
Yep.
need to. 350 technically.
Yeah.
Standing room, we could
technically.
get more than that. But
Yeah.
anyway,
So should be
Yeah.
good. You don't have to RSVP for that.
no, just show
you
up.
just show up.
Yeah.
There will be some beverages and
Mm-hmm.
snacks, I'm
Fun.
sure.
Yep. And then, yeah, there's other stuff coming up. Easter musical for kids and stuff. There's more info. about
Yeah,
that
I don't
coming
know
up,
if
but
anybody heard about that.
yeah.
Do you know
On
about
Palm
that?
Sunday.
I do.
It's going to be on Palm Sunday as a part of the weekend worship service.
Yeah, I remember Josie was saying something about it.
Yep. So
When
they're
is
going to
that? When that's in April?
be Easter,
Yeah,
Palm Sunday. It's the
The 10th,
first.
April 10th.
April 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it'll probably be like 25 degrees out by then.
yeah.
Dude, I saw a Facebook memory today of like a couple years ago, and it was already there was ice melting on lakes. And remember, was that 3 years ago?
Well, I
'Cause we
remember
almost
one
had
year we had to
postpone
cancel
Big Chill was
Big Chill
it was too
because
slushy.
yeah,
and-
it was not safe to go on the lake.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we've talked a lot about the weather.
If only,
Yep.
if only.
So you were gone last week when we did the Love Your Neighbor
Right.
thing. But I want to share with because someone just texted me from Northridge. You know Zach Rothstein?
Yep.
He texted me a picture of the thing. He's like, hey, we got a bunch of these delivered or, on our doorstep.
Oh, cool.
He's like, it looks like the same thing Northridge was doing. I'm like, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's pretty cool. They're in St. Michael. We had some. We don't use our front door very often, but I was taking out the trash last Friday night, I think, and
You do the
open
paper
front
and the
door.
trash,
Yeah, open the door, and there's some of them
and
between.
then get that. Yeah.
I wasn't listening.
Take out the paper and the trash.
Oh yeah,
Yakety yak.
Ah,
Dog.
Yeah, we had some delivered. It was pretty cool, which meant, of course, our neighborhood was already hit by, so we couldn't
So you couldn't do it.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know Holly Sable shared that she was passing them out in Target parking lot, and
wow.
so it's kind of fun. We're hammering. We're
Cool.
hammering now.
Yeah, I heard that they packed how many bags?
200? Sound right? 500? I forget the exact.
Hundreds.
Hundreds
Hundreds
of bags.
of bags.
I forget the exact 100 number.
Okay.
It was either 2 or 5. Yeah.
Is there any actionable thing about the Love Your Neighbor thing anymore? Do they buy the bags?
Yeah, you were gone, man.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
I feel like we have
$10
to
a bag.
completely talk about this again. Yeah, it was just, and that was just the supplies.
So the youth and the kids packed bags
youth and
last
kids
Wednesday.
last Wednesday packed them, and
Yeah,
people bought them on last Sunday.
Okay.
Can distribute them, and
Can you still buy the bags?
I think Steph might still have some.
Okay, so
Yeah.
get in touch with her.
Yeah, Steph Uchman.
If you still want to
But,
buy a bag to pass out to somebody, get in touch with Steph.
We also got a card sent to the office from one of the neighbors in the neighborhood here, just writing like, "Thank you so much. We love the sentiment of you're not alone, you are loved, and we are really blessed to have Northridge as a neighbor."
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Like a handwritten card.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Who does that?
I got a handwritten card recently, like a couple
Yeah,
weeks
my
ago.
mom is like the only person I know that.
Yeah,
did.
it blew me away. It
Yeah.
was so nice. Like
Yeah.
because you don't get them ever.
Right.
It's actually
Yeah, it's like wow, look at
really
this.
nice to
Yeah.
get one.
You teared
Yeah.
up, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I still have it.
You teared.
I
No,
don't think
you
he's
teared
ever.
up.
I don't think
Oh,
he's
not
ever.
teared up.
tore
I
up.
thought you said
I don't think
tore
he's
up.
ever cried.
Seinfeld episode. How long do you keep a card? Because was it? I think Elaine gave Jerry a card, and she saw it in the trash the next day.
Depends on who it is.
Yeah.
I think.
How long are you supposed to keep a card?
We have a Cross. For those of you who don't know, Cross is our local food shelf, and every month they do something different for collection. We have 2 collection bins, one at each entrance. Those big kind of cases, I don't know what you want to call them, chests. They're plastic chests, and you can bring donations, put them in there. But this month in particular, it's about baby stuff. Baby food, formula, wet wipes, diapers, baby shampoo, powder, toys, and supplies. Anything related to baby. If you have stuff that you don't use anymore, or if you want to buy new stuff, you can buy it, bring it, and put it in the bins at the entrances for all of February. That's what's going on with Cross. I'm sure they need and would love people to come and serve and volunteer over there. You can help sort. You can work in the store. You can do all sorts of different things over there. It's right over by Cabela's, so go over in there and check them out. Awesome organization that's doing stuff that's making a difference in our own community here with our own neighbors. And it goes directly to them. It isn't red tape that, people go in there and they literally shop in the warehouse for food, for clothing, for toys, and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool.
Cool ministry.
And then the last kind of bit of news is our youth. There's a handful of events. You can go onto the news and events page and look down at the bottom right-hand side for youth events. There's a middle school boys airsoft event on the 19th of February. There's Youth Cultural Day, which I have no idea what that is. That's April 2nd. And just a heads up for the week of Easter, Holy Week, we'll be doing a Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. No Saturday services because we discontinued those a couple months ago. But no Wednesday night youth group or kids stuff that Wednesday night, which would be the 13th. And then also no youth stuff on the 17th on Sunday morning. And then there's a Fun Fusion on the 27th, which is a Wednesday night. They just transform what we normally do on Wednesday into just fun time with their own small groups that they will be planning in advance. And then I know there's a retreat in May. So just a bunch of stuff. If you're a parent of a middle schooler, high schooler, Mike is one of them, you want to just kind of, and sorry, and Greg.
Me too.
I forgot.
It's weird. No, it took me a second to, wait, I am.
Me too.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, middle school. Yeah.
So yeah, you guys just want to keep an eye out for what those are and communicate with your student on what they want to be a part of. And I would recommend most or if not all of it. So any other things that are happening around Northridge, Greg, that you can think of? Anything that's happened, Mike, that is Northridge related that you just would like to share? Maybe a story. How's your small group going, or anything else?
Especially if there's been some real personal stuff shared in
Yeah.
small
Right.
groups, like maybe now's the time to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be just put it right out on the internet. Right?
Name them by full
Right.
names.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, age, height, weight, everything. Yeah. What's going on around Northridge? Well, I don't know specific around Northridge, but I know one of our church planters recently had heart surgery. Phil.
Yep.
And I haven't personally heard. I mean, I guess Pastor Ben told me that he's doing well, but maybe I think you know him really, really well, don't you know, Phil?
Yeah, I don't know if really well.
Yeah.
I mean, I know him well, but he's recovering. He's doing well. He's recovering just like he should. I imagine it takes a little while to regain, especially your stamina. Just your endurance, being able to. So I'm sure he's trying to take it easy with easing his way back into preaching on the weekends, and
He's younger, early 40s.
he's my age.
Yeah, just a young whippersnapper.
But it
then,
sounded like his dad had a.
There's a history
problem,
of
like
heart issues in
maybe
their
some
family. Right.
Genetic stuff there. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
I think he's Filipino. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Maybe not.
Probably not.
His Mexican, because
Although
they're
I
kind
never
of.
thought about his name being Phil and being Filipino. I just until you said that. That's awesome.
so prayer for him.
Like if your name
and
is
that
Corey.
church, because they're a small church, and
Right.
it's not like
And Phil was doing a lot of things.
Yes.
He was preaching. He was in charge of a lot of the video and the tech, and
set up, tear down.
when they went to full online streaming for like everybody did, he was doing it all. And that's taxing. Not only being a senior pastor of a church plant is draining as it is, but all the other things. So, yeah, be praying
So
for
you-
Phil and clarity.
Yeah.
You were down there, other Northridgers were helping out and stuff. But you took the trailer or something?
Yeah, we
on
just
Sunday?
helped Justin, Jorger, and I just got the trailer down there. I mean, they
With your Tundra?
actually no. So Phil has a much bigger truck than me. Apparently, I showed up with my truck. I was like, "Yeah, no problem. We'll get this moved." And I was like,
Could not do it.
"Oh, I can't do this. This trailer was double axle trailer,
Weighing your
way big, and it just would have just
sunk your.
sunk down. Everything would have just hit crash. So we went and got Phil's truck. He's got a 3/4 ton, much more manly than I am. And so we used his truck and got it taken care of. But I mean, the church, there's a lot of people there that are just working hard, and they knew what they were doing.
So right when you pulled up with the trailer,
They were ready
there's
to go.
a bunch of people, busy
They were ready
bees,
to
just
go.
getting set up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
that's good.
It's a lot of work though, being a church plant and working, going out of a trailer.
It is. Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Have you, Greg? Yeah. I did it before I got here with Living Hope.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's hard work.
So
Yeah.
having a
Sit up, tear
building
down.
is, I mean, it's a blessing. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
So the first church I was on staff with, before I was even on staff, went to church there, and we met in a high school. But in California, you don't have much indoor space. Like we use the multi-purpose room for like the worship center, but all the kids stuff was out in the quad, and we had big tents, and so every week it was like set up and tear down the tents and all that stuff. Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, it's a lot of work. So.
So yeah, pray for Phil. If
Yeah.
you're feeling extra, you can. It'd be really cool to drop by on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And
They meet in Brooklyn Park.
yep, you can go to the Clarity Church's website and figure out what the address is, and I'm sure it'd be very encouraging for them to. If we could get maybe 10 or 20 Northridgers there on a Sunday morning, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
So, yeah. Greg, what do you think? What else is happening?
I don't know.
The addition's going.
Yeah.
There's paint. I think there's ceiling going in. Like
They got windows
this
in.
week. Windows are in. I think flooring in the next couple weeks, and I think we're aiming at. Chris Mabin was saying we're aiming at like the first 2 weeks of March to be in. Like moving. We got a bunch of all the office stuff is out in that storage.
Wait, so we can move into our offices
We're gonna be moving in
early March?
early March, moving all the cubicles and office stuff in.
Okay.
And then hopefully we could get like a permit to like a temporary, I forget what you call it, temporary
Occupancy.
occupancy or whatever
Yeah.
before the final inspections and everything. So, yeah,
Wow.
hopefully within March. So
It'd be nice
that'd
for
be
you
cool.
since you don't really have an office right now.
It's all right. Just roam around.
This
the
is
laptop.
kind of my office.
Yep. So what time you got to get back to work?
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
So we
Yeah.
wasted all your time.
Yeah.
Talking about nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, let's give you a chance. Mike, you were sharing with us about something that you're reading right now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about?
Yeah. Well, I'd commend this book to anybody. It's
Mostly like what is God
yeah.
doing in your life, and how is He helping you grow, and what
This
is He
is Timothy
speaking to you?
Keller's
Yeah.
book called Prayer.
Yeah, Timothy Keller book called it's Prayer. Yeah, because we were kind of kicking around ideas. What are we going to talk about? And this is just forefront to my mind. And what struck me, I think, in reading this book or going through this process of just examining prayer was I don't recall a lot of instruction or times in my life where I was like gravitated towards learning more about prayer and how to pray better and how to pray differently and not get stagnant in prayers, right? And I guess what has struck me in reading this book is it's not extremely heady by any stretch. It is not. Mm-hmm. It's not, and it's just, in fact, it's very practical. It has really struck me that my prayer life, and it was shallow, I guess, to just to say it, there's so much more that God wants and so much more that I can experience through prayer that I wasn't tapping into near enough. And there's different saints that have come before us and what they did for prayer and their methods, and that's good, beneficial. I mean, there's really not a wrong way to pray per se, but there's definitely tactics and methods and even our mindset about prayer that we can grow in. So I don't know. One of the things that he points out, there's kind of two things that struck me was he points out in Paul, when Paul is praying for these churches throughout the New Testament, he never prays for their circumstances to change. He prays that they would endure through the circumstance and that they would be changed through it. That struck me because I know when something's askew in my life, God, please change this, please change this, please. I mean, I go right to that as opposed to, not that it's wrong to pray for the circumstance to change, right? I mean, that's not the point, but the point was how much Paul's focus was, I want you to change more first before the actual circumstances change. And because that's where the real growth happens. Because if it's just the circumstances change, we're just the same people that we were before, except our circumstance maybe has gotten better. So I like that. I really like that. And then just kind of what's the point of prayer? And he points out, the point is really to commune with God. That's our time to actually commune, not just to ritualistically go through something or not just to download a bunch of our problems, but to actually commune. I mean, what's the point? One of the points of this is to have a relationship with each other, right? To have some laughs, to leave here feeling encouraged, to not just go, okay, let's go through the list of items that we're doing and check, and then leave. So I recommend the book. It's a great book on prayer.
It's cool.
So maybe it's not in the book, but it's just what you've gleaned off of just taking a deeper look about this whole prayer thing. What can you tell somebody who, for whatever reason, maybe they're stuck in a rut or they've gotten into this pattern, because Jesus said, don't be repetitious and pray the same thing over and over again. He said all sorts of things. Don't be like the guy on the street corner with all the words.
Right.
But when you pray, go in your closet. And so what could you say to the person who has fallen into that pattern of praying the same things over and over again, like, dear Jesus, thank you for this food, thank you for the weather, thank you for my kids, thank you for my family, thank you for my job, amen.
Yeah.
Or, dear Jesus, I need this, I need that, like just kind of giving him a list of stuff.
Yeah.
That can, both of those two things, I think, can throw you in a rut when it comes to your prayer life, or not even really knowing what to pray about, other than when something, massive happens or catastrophic happens. It seems like we all are comfortable with praying when it comes to those moments, but the normal everyday life, when it's more about intimacy with God.
Yes.
What's one or two things that you could encourage people with to get them out of that rut, to help them focus on that greater purpose of intimacy with God?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say the first thing that I've been doing more of because of this is actually going through the Lord's Prayer, and not just praying the Lord's Prayer, there's nothing wrong with that, but actually, our Father, and stopping there, and actually meditating, okay, Father, you're my Father, you love me, I'm called your child, and staying on that, hallowed be your name, and then actually, what does that mean to hallow the name of God, and just taking that time, give us this day our daily bread. Okay, Lord, what do I need today, right? And just systematically going through the Lord's Prayer, slowly stopping, contemplating, talking to God. It doesn't have to be fancy words like you pointed out. I mean, God cares about our heart, and just really going through the Lord's Prayer systematically is what the first thing I would do, or maybe or tactic, maybe not the first thing, just one way. And the other thing is praying through the Psalms. You know, going through, reading a psalm, and being honest with yourself and saying, you know, we always want to be the protagonists in the Psalms, right? You know, Lord, you know, save me from my enemies and all this other stuff. Well, maybe we need to be honest about ourselves and be like, you know, am I not being kind? Am I not being loving? Am I not being, you know, and really going through those and slowly, you know, Lord, I want to take refuge in you because of what's happening, or change my heart. Really going, I mean, the Psalms are a wonderful mirror to our life, right? Mm-hmm. You read the Psalm and it's like, wow. So I guess those would be two tactics, just slowly going through the Lord's Prayer, and then, you know, praying through the Psalms, not just reading them, but praying them, and then meditating on the Word. And, you know, for those who meditate, I know that maybe that's a word that's, meditating is just focusing. Just, what does this word
It's
mean?
been hijacked by the modern world, but its
Right.
original is really in the Bible.
Right. Focus on the word. What does
Meditate
it
on
mean?
your words day and night.
Right, right. Yeah. Meditating isn't turning your mind off and going to the metaverse.
Trying to be one with yourself.
Right.
Metaverse.
Right. So
those are good.
yeah, those.
Greg,
what
what
about
about
What
you?
do you have?
No, I was going to make a joke about Tim Keller, but I'm just joking. No.
I thought you should have went like this. You know,
No, I was going to ask you, who do you think is the new Protestant Pope since he's retired?
yeah.
Who's the new go-to that like bridges all the gaps,
Right.
or not the gap, all the just different segments of Christian society? But anyway,
I don't know.
I don't either.
I mean, he had quite a.
He was like accepted by
ministry.
like
Everybody.
Everyone's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Tim Keller. Yeah, I like him. He's good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some people that don't, but anyway, no, I like a lot what you're saying, and yeah, I too. Like, people we get, there's certain terminology or something that's like trigger words now or something. I don't know, but yeah, meditating's good. But I like the idea of praying through the Psalms, and
Yeah.
I think when was that the last summer we did the
This
Psalm,
past
right? Yeah.
summer,
Yeah.
he preached for 2 of them.
Yeah, but that's it hits you like, I don't know. Different sections of Scripture we go through, different stages of life. You're reading it, and you know sometimes you go, depending on where you're at, you go through some of the Psalms, and you're like, well, okay, I know. Oh yeah, they made a song out of this one,
Right,
Or you know,
yeah.
oh I know these words. This is familiar, but then it hits you like they are prayers
Yeah.
from David, many of them, or whoever else wrote some of them, but. You could pray through those things because they're very. They speak to. The circumstances might be slightly different, but they speak to our experience.
Absolutely.
What we're going through, and no, it's good stuff. I might pick this one up. So
The book.
yeah, the book.
Yeah, I put a
Just
link.
be interested to
Yeah.
go through
It's
it.
an Amazon link to
Yeah, I see
the
that.
book on prayer. Obviously, I'm sure Mike would be happy to talk with you if you have
Yeah,
want to talk
absolutely.
about it
I'd
more,
talk
or
about it.
questions or whatever.
One of the other methods was Luther preached for about 2 to 3 hours a day, so that'd be another.
Prayed.
Prayed.
Yeah.
2 to 3 hours a day.
That was his best part of his
yeah.
ministry is when he prayed for
Yeah.
Isn't it something like that? I remember.
Yeah. So I mean, if certainly, I
Best
mean,
part of his
listen,
day is
I don't want to joke, but I mean, because I'm sure there are some people that do.
Yeah.
But man, my ADD or just
Right.
I don't know, like
Yeah.
I'd either fall asleep or I'd completely lose track of what I was doing.
Yeah. Well, I think for
I
me,
give them a lot of credit. For
nobody
that.
asked me my tips, but I'm going to
Sorry.
give them to you. I think once you start getting into this deeper prayer life with understanding that it's not just about a certain sequence of words or trying to get what you want from some cosmic vending machine, or doing the religious things so you can feel like your conscience is cleared or whatever. It's really focusing in on this intimacy with God, and it's just spending time and creating space for that in your life for Him. That's why Jesus said, "Go in your closet," because it's not about what everybody else sees you do. It's about you having this moment and this time with Jesus. And for me, when I started really doing that and not just doing the routine thing, you start to develop a greater awareness of him all day long.
Yeah.
And while you still want to have these moments where it's set apart, to be able to have this ongoing dialogue with him all day long, that because you're constantly aware of him, I think totally changes everything about you. It changes the way you like if you know he's there when you're having a conversation with your spouse or with your kid or with the stranger at the grocery store or in your car when somebody pisses you off, and they cut you off or something. I mean, it just changes everything. And so just have this constant dialogue with him as if, because he is right there with you. And you might not hear him talking back to you all the time, but he is. But there's this opportunity for you to communicate. And to remember that prayer isn't just me talking. Prayer is us hearing and listening from God. And so the other tip that I would have is when you go pray, grab a piece of paper and a pen. And what I like to do is I actually like to draw a line. Draw a line, and on one side it's just to-do list, and on the other side is what God might be saying to me. Because what happens is, for me at least, like you said, your ADD is you start praying, and all of a sudden, all these things that you forgot you had to do, they come flooding into your mind.
Absolutely, yep.
And so what you got to do is you just got to write it down and then forget about it.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Check the mileage on my car
Right.
to see if I need to do an oil change.
Yeah.
All right, check mileage. And then just get rid of it.
That's a good tip.
I need milk. All right, write it down. Get rid of it, because then your mind isn't focused on whether or
I
not.
gotta do it before I forget.
Right.
Yeah.
You won't, because then so not only will you come out with potentially some amazing things that God might be speaking to you come out with a really practical to-do list.
It does.
So grab a pen
good.
and a piece of paper, and because if you want God to speak to you, you better be ready, and you're going to want to write it down, and get into His Word, because He never says anything that's contrary to His Word, and you want to hear God's voice better, know His Word more.
And when that happens, what you're describing, it becomes less than of a quote-unquote chore. Like, I need to get up today. I need to read my Bible and pray.
Right.
I mean, we've all felt that at times. You're like, But what you're describing, it's not. This is what I want to do. I want to commune with God today. Like I'm really looking forward to it. And in fact, if you get distracted, you almost get kind of annoyed by it.
Yeah.
So. That's a really good point,
Unless
Andy.
it's your child.
That's no, they can annoy you too. But I'm going to do that. That's really good.
That's a great tip. But I was just thinking, it also goes to show you how distracted we are in life in general. Because the moment you stop and try to concentrate on something or try to focus on prayer, or then all of a sudden, like you said, you remember all the things you got to do.
Yeah.
I was like, man, how distracted are we typically?
Well, I think it's a combination of just how much busy our minds and our lives are,
Right.
and then also spiritual warfare. I mean, I think, like you try to pray when you go to sleep, and the enemy will give you a sleep situation fast.
Yeah.
If you try praying when you're trying, laying down, thinking it's going to be some sort of productive moment, you'll fall asleep quick. So just a quick tip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
The
he'll
kids ask me
start
that a
throwing
lot.
stuff at you all over the place.
Dad, is it wrong to fall asleep when you're praying? I'm like, no, it happens to everybody.
See, sometimes
That's
you
a
just
great way to go to sleep.
prayer-
That's
Pastor
my
Andy
opinion.
just said
Prayer-
it's spiritual warfare.
prayer is so much bigger than
Sleep
this.
during the war.
Than this dear Jesus, like we're writing a letter.
Yeah.
And we got to get out of the mindset of that's what prayer is. Sometimes prayer is just shutting up and curling up into your Father's arms
Yes.
and just being there. And we don't do that enough. And so, yes, he just says you need to rest. And so just lay down and rest. And I'll be here right with you.
Yeah.
I know everything that's going. He says, pray as if your Father in heaven knows what you need already.
Right.
So the question I always ask is, if he already knows what I'm going to say, why say it? That, to me, tells me there's so much more than just what we need.
Because it's about the relationship.
Yeah.
It's about the intimacy as it is about the information.
Yeah. Greg, close something out. I got to take this phone call real quick.
All right. Still about prayer or something else? I don't know. Okay. I don't know if we want to continue that. So,
How long do you normally go?
I don't know. About whenever. Hour and a half. We're at an hour and 15. So, I'm just really curious now what he's talking about. Just kidding. So,
Did he turn his microphone off, or is it still on there?
I don't even know. It's off. Let's just pretend like we know what he's doing. So, what else? So, you've been reading this book on prayer, and I know you're a reader in general. It seems like you're always reading something.
Yeah,
which
I'm
I
not
admire,
a
by the way.
retainer.
I
I'm not
try.
a retainer. I'm a reader. I can read it and then
Yeah.
so I'm reading it twice because
Well, I
you
gotta
know,
read each paragraph
yeah.
3 times when
Yeah.
I'm reading because, like, mine starts drifting. But
yeah.
yeah, no, I appreciate you're always talking about stuff you've been reading, books you've been reading.
Mm-hmm.
I have, you've recommended some. You know what I really appreciate you is, like, I feel like when you read something and it's good, you allow it to change you. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if you know what I mean, but you're a different guy
that's a very
than.
kind compliment. Thank you.
Well, it's also a way of saying I don't like who you were 5 years ago.
That's true. Well,
joking.
I understand that.
No.
You know, it's funny.
No,
Here's a book I would
just-
recommend
just-
you read.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm just yeah, you need to read this, man.
Yeah.
Check it.
I better start reading better books.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you're saying.
No, I just feel like you take stuff. If it's good, I'm sure you throw a lot of stuff out. But if there's good information, you really take it to heart.
Yeah.
And I admire that because I try over my life, especially as an adult, I've tried hard to, like, I feel like I should read this book, and I feel like, I should be able to get something out of it. And then a couple pages in, I'm like, oh man, or the first time I pick it up, it's like, oh, this is great. Set it down and just never go finish
Yeah.
it. Like we all probably have a stack of books that we've never finished, but that's most of
Oh
mine.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, most people have a bookshelf of all the books that they have read
Right.
already. I think when we do our new offices,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a bookshelf of books that I want to read and I
you
haven't
go.
read yet.
I'll add to that. I could give you quite a collection.
I don't want to read those books.
They're books I think you should read. Andy.
Okay, because you want me
Yeah.
to be a certain person.
No,
certain
well,
way.
one that I did pick up
Yeah.
a couple years ago that I read and enjoyed was the I can't think of what it's called, but the Brant Hansen one, or Brant Hansen, that Air One radio guy wrote it. You read so much you don't remember what it was.
Did I read it?
Unoffended?
Oh
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you told
that
me
the one,
you told me
Unoffendable?
someone
Unoffendable. Yeah.
yeah, someone gave it
I
to you and you're like, I don't want to read this, and then
Right.
you read it and you were like,
Yeah.
and it like moved you.
Yeah.
I even referenced a story in it. I think in a sermon I read.
Yeah,
it.
I have a couple copies
passed
at
it.
home. I gave it
Yeah.
away to a couple people, and it
I
does
did
get
too.
mixed reviews. What did you get? I got one guy that was really thought it was like the worst book ever.
Well, because it's like it's one of those. Even the title, it's like, here, you should read this. It's like,
Right.
what are you saying?
Right.
But it was good.
I thought it was good. I didn't.
I think our culture could use more of that.
I gave
Yeah.
mine. I loaned mine out to someone, and I don't think I got it back.
Good memory though.
I don't remember who it was.
By the way, good.
Yeah,
with
no, it
the
was good.
title and
Deep cut.
I didn't
Yeah.
remember the title. He Googled
Yeah.
it.
No, actually, I was Googling another
did you
book.
Google it or did you DuckDuckGo it?
No, I Googled another, how to pray when you're
I
pissed.
Googled it on DuckDuckGo.
How to pray when you're pissed at God. Andy Rubel gave me that a few years
Oh,
back.
really?
Or anyone else for that matter. That's the title of the book. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
well,
that's
I mean,
cool.
that's scriptural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go through those Lamentations, or right?
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah. Okay. So this is something I was. I don't know. We could talk for just a minute about it before we wrap up, but
Yeah.
and it goes along with what we were talking about, the way Jesus is portrayed in The Chosen and that show in general. But I think I could get in trouble with this statement. I think we make Scripture, the words of Scripture, sometimes we make it too serious. Like, and what I mean is there's a lot more humor, there's a lot more honesty, like Lamentations or even some of the Psalms. There's a lot more people being angry and being honest before God. There's a lot of humor in Scripture that we read over and don't realize it's humor. There's a lot more emotion in there than I don't know if it's an American evangelical thing or if it's even just more of a modern thing, but we want to make everything so like it's serious. You got to take the Word of God very seriously, which of course we do. But you know what I mean? Serious is probably the
Maybe
wrong
lack
word.
of joy. You mean?
Yeah, but there's so much more emotion in the words of Scripture than just, okay, this is just these
Yeah.
are important statements for us to take to heart. Like, there's a lot of humor. There's a lot of anger.
I think what
There's
you're saying is more like a respect or kind of a
Yeah, there's a
honoring
difference
of it.
between honor, like respecting
just
scripture
funny
and-
thing is like when I was in Hawaii, we went to the Pearl Harbor
Yeah,
Memorial, and you can walk around for free just in the Pearl Harbor Memorial. They got a bunch of plaques and everything, sort of the timeline of how everything happened. And then they have several different museums. They have the airplane museum. They have the submarine museum. You can go on the Arizona, which is was decommissioned, a dozen years ago or whatever, battleship.
Yep.
And then you can also take the ferry over to the Missouri, which is a sunken battleship from the Pearl Harbor attack. And they have that white building. If you ever see pictures of it, it's like, is that the Missouri? No, the white building is a structure they built over the sunken ship, and it has this memorial in it with a big wall of all the people that died that day. And they tell you, don't use FaceTime or don't make any calls over there,
Yeah.
because we want to honor and respect.
Yeah.
But what I felt, and I totally forgot about this, by the way. I was so what I felt
you
was
FaceTime me from.
right, and I got in trouble for it.
Did you
So-
really?
I did. So, but what I felt was, and I was
Confessions of a pastor
Yeah,
here.
right.
Yeah.
So
So
going
I
over
totally
there,
ignored the sign.
going over there, everybody's chit chatty and having a good time, and then we dock, and everybody starts getting off the boat, and then it was like this switch of, all right, now I'm going to be respectful. And I think it has that same tone of the way that we approach the Bible. It's like, open. This is not just, another book. This is the Bible, and so we have to have this certain tone and approach to it. And I to me, like going over there, I felt fake trying to put on that persona of, I'm gonna honor the fallen and all this kind of stuff. There's some guys that had shirts and the whole garb and all this stuff, and they watch, Pearl Harbor and what's the other movie about Pearl Harbor attack that I actually watched on the plane on the way home.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Maybe on the way home as a
Torah.
No, it was the more recent one. It was actually a good movie.
Pearl Harbor was awful.
Pearl Harbor, old Pearl Harbor movie
Ben
was
Affleck
awful.
version.
But they had a newer one. I can't remember the name of it. Was actually a really good movie. But it just was this kind of contrived sense of honor and feeling. Because for instance, when we have memorial services here for people, more often than not, people say their loved ones say, we want to have a celebration of life.
Yeah.
We want to share stories about this person's life in a fun and a joyful way, because we know that this person's in heaven right now with Jesus, and this should be a celebration. And I felt a little bit of that tension in me when I go over there. Yes, these people, unfortunately, because somebody probably up at the Diamond Head lookout post missed the first kind of coming of the planes, and now all these people died with this ship. And it's sad, and yes, they gave their lives not directly fighting the war, but they were part of the war. Anyway, all this kind of stuff, and I even went back to that wall and looked at it, but I had just this weird sense of, like, are we supposed to be somber? Are we supposed to be respectful? Yes. Are we supposed to just be quiet? And he started texting me. And
I didn't know he was there.
I put in my earpiece and I FaceTimed them, and I totally forgot that they had. I wasn't doing it to be a rebel.
Yeah.
But I totally forgot that they
Well,
did
and the
watch it.
context too is like it was Wednesday night here, and the daughter of his
The person I was
friend
with.
he was with was saying, like, call Andy and tell him he needs to talk to my mom, and she was kind of confused. I thought it was
thought it was
some
an
kind of an
emergency.
emergency
Yeah.
or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So I called him up and I'm FaceTime.
Then he's
and
like
I'm showing him all
FaceTiming,
this
he's like,
stuff.
"Hey, check it
here's-"
out, man. He's
And
like-
then this Ranger Rick dude who looked like he, just got. I shouldn't be judgmental. He just wasn't your
You
tip.
were in the wrong.
I was.
Stop casting your anger
Right.
out on Ranger
I shouldn't
Rick.
have done it. He said,
Be unoffendable, Andy.
I don't know if I offended them, but he's like, you're not supposed to use FaceTime. I'm like, yeah, sorry, sir. So I hung up. And in fact, I think I hung up on you pretty quick.
I don't remember.
I was like, I got to go by. So, but it's, to me, it's that same sense of,
Yeah.
of weird, contrived respect of this thing, the Bible or Pearl
Yeah.
Harbor,
I'm
that
not-
isn't
yeah.
necessarily, it seems disingenuous to a degree. But we've, for years and years, had this approach to the Bible that has acted as a buffer to really get down to the meat and the emotion in the book. That I think the chosen...
Something that came to my mind when you were talking with is, because we obviously respect, revere God's word, but what you're describing is
Reverence.
like religious, like putting on a religious posture
Right.
to go through some sort of motion. Now, like in a memorial setting, that's appropriate, right? But like, you're not, don't read scripture as a religious person, read scripture as a human being. And like, be honest. Like, he's given us emotion. There's times where we're angry and we're confused or, angry at God or the situation. There's times where like you're in a great mood, like everything's funny and maybe you'll see more humor in it. I don't know. But just read it as a human being. I mean, it's God's letter. It's a relationship, like we say. And it's
Absolutely.
back to the prayer thing, and it's God's perfectly fine with us being honest. And I don't know. It kind of struck me. Actually, I remember I was talking to Kathy Glenn last week. She's in seminary, and it was a book she's reading, and it was talking about there's even bad words in Scripture that we've neutered and made them not so offensive
Neutered,
in
you
English.
said neutered.
Like, but if we translated them into our English words, they'd be a lot more harsh. Or the way they even interacted with other people sometimes really harsh, right?
Philippians 3.
Yeah.
It's all,
Yes.
it's all
He talks
Yeah.
about
garbage.
Calls you out rubbish.
Rubbish is not.
It's not the.
It's not.
It's the
like-
worst dog poop word you can think of. Right. But it's so part of that is not our fault because it's the way like translators have chose to translate words to maybe make them less offensive. Even the King James used to use a different word for donkey than what we do in NIV because you don't want your kids to say that word
in church.
Yeah, but
Best was when they read it in
and then
like
everyone's
the scripture
snickering.
reading in the service.
he said
He said the A word.
he said the word for donkey.
So I know we got to wrap, but
Yeah.
would you then, having that in mind, would you do, if we ever do them, or not necessarily you, but would you do prayer and worship nights differently? Because oftentimes the ones that I've been to, not just here, or I'm not speaking specifically, they're usually more somber. The lights are low, a little more serious, and that maybe
In a
that
mood.
maybe that element of celebration or joy isn't highlighted as much. I don't
Sure.
know. I don't know.
That's
Something to think
Fair
about.
enough. Yeah. Yeah. I think
I love those nights, by the way.
I think most of those have kind of gone with the theme that we picked.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there are.
I'm not.
And I think a lot of people expect the prayer element to be with the worship thing,
Yeah.
and sometimes it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
In my mind,
Yeah.
sometimes they need to be separate.
Yeah.
Sometimes it benefits each individual element if they're separated. Sometimes it works when they're together. But yeah, that's fair enough. Something to think about. Before we wrap, the last thing I want to mention is we are still planning on doing a conversation about the rise and fall of Mars Hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd
And
be
Mike
fun.
Stella is going to be one of those that are going to be part of that conversation. So Greg put a link in the previous podcast that we did of the podcast of the rise and fall of Mars Hill, and sometime in the next month or so we'll be getting on that and having a more extensive conversation with some other people about it. So if you want
look forward to that.
try to catch up and listen, you probably want to start soon because it's 12 plus episodes with some ancillary episodes. They're each about an hour at the minimum long. And so if that kind of stuff interests you, if you like watching a car crash in slow motion, or you like true crime documentaries, any of those kinds of things, it's a fascinating sociological study on faith and church community. And
The lessons. It's hard, say, do you like it? People said, do you like the? It's like, I don't know if I would describe it as, but the lessons learned from that.
Yeah.
At least that lessons I've learned about myself and things from that. That's what I enjoyed about
Yeah.
it.
And we're going to cover a lot of that stuff. I have a huge list of talking points that
Man.
we'll get to. Hey, if you have any comments about anything that we talked about, shared about today, maybe you didn't like it, maybe you want to know
Mike.
more, email greggt
Two of the three were great.
at nrf.life. No, just let us know. We'd love to talk to you. I'd like to continue a conversation. Again, the link for this book, Tim Keller Prayer, is in the comment section, and the link for the podcast is in there as well. Hope to see you this Sunday, and hope you have a great rest of the week.
Thanks for having me.
Say goodbye,
guys.
Mike.
Yeah.
See ya. Thanks for having me.
man.